Okay, so I wanted to do a video basically on a few things before I talk about regular topics. So, somebody was upset at me because of the live, right? Some people were upset about the live. And I just wanted to say, people keep saying that live stream is me. Okay, if the live stream is me, I just have a few questions, okay? I have a question about specifically Jessica. How come Jessica didn't know me, my name, Deanna Joseph? When she was saying my name in the live stream, she was saying Deanna Joseph and acting like she didn't know who Deanna Joseph was or saying her name wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, that seemed like an act. I'll say her name wrong, so then, I can seem like I don't know who that person is. It's weird, because it's like I said in the other video, it's weird because it's like, we talked for 3 hours. I have the link to the live stream that was emailed to me on March 11th, and somehow you don't remember me. You don't remember me talking to you for over 3 hours? Like, that's weird, in my opinion. That seems like you're pretending you don't know someone for a reason, for a gang. What would that be? Why would you do that, Why would you do that? That's why I kind of feel like, now, lady, are you the one who's in cohorts with this whole situation? You know, how do I know? How do I know that you aren't a part of it? To me, it seems like you have some kind of beef against me because, one, every time I comment on your page, what happens? I always get a lot of hate from your subs. So it could be one of your subs who did it and is just acting up, or it could be you. You seem suspicious when you pretend you don't know someone that you had a specific issue with being a swirler on the stream. Because on the live stream, we talked for 3 hours, and then I said I was a swirler at the end. And it was like, in my opinion, it's just like weird. Because it's like, you wouldn't remember over 3 hours of talking to someone. Really? Come on now. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound real. Your reaction to the call seems odd to me. If you. Also, if. Nah. Well, yeah. Because, I mean, like, if you talk to someone for 3 hours, wouldn't you know who called you? Wouldn't you say, oh, this person sounds familiar? You wouldn't recognize that. Come on now. You've talked to this person over 3 hours. Like, that's weird to me. To me, on top of it, like I said, there's been times where I had negative comments from her page. Whenever I comment, they follow me to my channel, they look at my channel, hate watch, and all that crap. Which isn't too bad of a thing from my point of view, but, I got to have trolling and problems because I made a comment that was not even a gangster channel usually. Usually it's in favor of light-skinned women. Because I'm never negative really to light-skinned women. That's one thing. You won't really see me being that negative to light-skinned women. You don't really see me negative towards anyone. Like, I'm not negative light-skinned or dark-skinned women. And I make note of that because, like, with colorism, I feel like we have to be negative to one or the other. And I guess since I'm more like, I'm a middle grounder, that for me, I don't have any issue with either side. I'm not gonna root for either side. I don't do that, really. You know. So, I'm, like, in different ways, some things that she talked about, I agree with her, like, perspective on some issues, I kind of agree with her. And sometimes when she talks about colorism, some issues, some things she says in it, I might agree with her. So that was the thing. For me, I always got targeted because I'm black, you know? And it's so weird. It's like, why you hating on me just because I'm black? Because I identify with black? Because I said black women are beautiful? Like, is something really. Don't you think something's really wrong with you that you're just attacking someone who's not attacked you? Like, come on now. I never really bring this up because it's just like, oh, this is just how it is, you know? But, I mean, since we're bringing up the whole situation that happened there, I mean, it only makes sense for me to explain what my experience has always been on that channel and channels like that, you know? And to me, honestly, like I said, that's why I feel like with the live stream, it makes sense to me that someone would try to pretend to be me or whatever, or try and sound like me. But even then, I mean, like, they didn't really sound like me to me. That's just how I see it. Maybe it's because I know me, but I'm like, no, that's not really how I sound. Um, but I don't know. Some people perceive people differently, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, then also, oh, another thing I wanted to talk about was some people, like I said, the cranky black men on my channel and stuff. Some of you guys seem like you're pissed off so much that you wish I was like in porn or something. Wait, I don't understand one thing about that. It's like, now, why do you think I would have an issue with porn? I mean, if it was really porn, cool. I mean, like, where's my money though? Seriously, I wouldn't care. I mean, like, that'd be cool. But the thing is, with like porn, my reason is not like a class issue with porn. Like, I would say, for me, with that, I've always been like prostitution and pornography, like porn stars or whatever. I think they should do what they do if they want to do it. That's how I've always seen it. Like, do it if you want to do it. Me personally, I've never wanted to do that for two reasons. One reason, I've known very well. And the second reason, I just learned about December 27th, 2019. Um, Maybe I shouldn't go into that much. Sorry. But anyway. um, the first reason is because, like I said, I've said this in many videos. When I can only have sex with good-looking guys, okay? I don't want to have sex with anybody else. And I don't have sex with good-looking guys that other people think are good-looking. They have to be good to me. They have to be good-looking to me. So, I mean, it would have to be like good-looking, like white or Hispanic or mixed race guys, really. Um, Generally, if that was the kind of thing, it would be black men generally, because usually people who look at me, they assume that I would be with a black man. That's how people are. It's how I've been since I was young. That they always expected me to be with a dark skinned black man. And it's like, I'm not into dark skinned black men. I always had this issue when I was 18. I was like, oh shit, kind of thing. But yeah. Um, yeah, like for me, that's the main reason for me. When I was like in my early 20s, like that wasn't a thing for me. I was never like into that, you know, kind of thing. It just wasn't my thing, really. But one thing, other reason that I wouldn't be into it is the video that I made back in July, I think, complaining like a motherfucker, okay? About, being a black woman, the dating life. Well, I've said this before. I don't like big penises. So, for me, when I am with a guy or I want to have sex, I specifically look for a guy who's like 6 inches or 4 to 6 inches. That's my preference. Um, so for me, that would basically cut me out of any porn prostitution thing going on there, okay? I would never do something like that. I could never do anything that was like based off just any guy or whatever, anything like that. For me, it's like I gotta date a specific guy, sleep with a specific guy, and it's gotta be this way in these positions. Specifically, it is in these specific positions. I'm not gonna go into graphic detail, but um, so for me, that's why I I don't do those things. Now, do I have anything against people who do? No, I don't. I said, people who do porn, good for them. Get your money, girl. People who do prostitution, I wish it was legal. If I could vote for it to be legal, I would. I have libertarian leans, I guess you could say. I'm a conservative, but I do have libertarian leans. On top of it, there's one other thing that I want to talk about. Oh yeah, but there are some aspects that I want to talk about that with. Specifically, I've had actually, like, that's one thing that I've always thought was cool. Like, I had a roommate actually that had, a boyfriend who she like give videos and stuff like that on them having sex and stuff. And like I wouldn't have anything against that if I wanted to, but even then it probably wouldn't work because like that's another thing. Because one time I was kind of like I wasn't really seeing the guy. I just wanted to sleep with him or whatever, and it was like hey, it was weird. Basically, like it's like weird stuff in bed and stuff like like just different stuff that was just weird. Like yeah, weird stuff. We don't really have to get into it, but this specific thing he was saying was like he wanted like to have sex while like recording or something like that. But I never did it because it didn't work out. Like that's another thing. Like I'm saying, like bigger guys usually. I guess bigger guys would be more into that. I guess a smaller guy wouldn't want to see himself fuck, obviously for obvious reasons. So even then, that's another reason why I wouldn't even want to do that because it's like I guess I always assumed the guy I'm with would probably not want to do that because then he'd be like smaller and then he wouldn't want to see himself and then he wouldn't want the whole wide world to see him. So I mean, kind of. So even in that case, I don't think that would even happen. Really, honestly, I don't think I could get anyone to consent to that. um, as far as anything else that I do, personally for me, like I've always wanted to get into stripping, but I never have. Like, I've never stripped, but I wouldn't mind being a stripper, really. Yeah, for me, a major thing for me is like, you have to remember where I come from. Like, like, how I see things is different from a lot of females, I guess you could say. For me, I, when I was young, I never liked being female, okay? Like I've said before, I think I've said that. Not completely, but I said like that I have said that I'm more yang than yin. You get that? And so for me, I've always preferred the male over the female as far as being. And so for me, I mean, if you could give me a reason why it's good to be a female, like it's getting me money or something, well then bring it on. Because I mean, like, I don't really have any other real interests, really. And there's other things, like, future wise, I guess the way I see it, it's like, well, that wouldn't really affect me considering my own personal plans. And I don't want to get into that much because people get weirded out by that because they see a small, feminine female and then they think different things and they don't really know what people want just because they wear makeup and hair and they're not wearing overalls and I don't know. But you get what I'm saying, basically. For me, I mean, like, I don't have any issue with the sex industry or adult industry. I've worked 5 years in telephone interviewing. I never really shared my experiences there. I made, I think, like, $3 million. Um, made my company $3 million at the last job, I think, in 1 year. I think, because I was adding up the amount that I produced, which was about like 10 a day. And anyone who knows me, Deanna, my face, you know already how much, like, I was at the top of the board every day, okay? But anyway, um, yeah, like 10 to, sometimes I did 15, but it depended. You add all that up and you do it basically considering I work 6 days a week, so like 26 days out of the month times 12 is about 3 million. So that's what I'm used to doing. I'm used to doing phone work. Now there is a little history there. I used to do something that was a little with the phone. Like, the reason I got into phone work was because when I was a kid, that's what I mean. My whole gender issue, it manifests in a lot of ways, okay? Like, a lot of ways. The first way was when I was 12 and I would prank call people and stuff as a boy, you know. I was always a 12, 13-year-old boy, a 12, 13-year-old, yeah, I won't say the other part of it, but a boy. That part is really, really sensitive for me. I mean, it's probably why you see a small, delicate woman right in your screen right now. But yeah, I'm not gonna get into that. That's a little too much. Um, but when I was like 12, I did that. I would do that because it was the only time I could be a boy, basically. And I really, really wanted to feel like people could acknowledge that I was a guy, I was a boy. And then I went online and I would do that often. I would do it often. I would say anything to make people think I was a guy. And then I made it kind of like real life when I went to one group thing, like youth group situation for LGBT people or whatever. And I did that for a while, LGBT people, trans youth, and stuff like that. I even went to another group, and like I said, this is too sensitive, but it's a specific group that LGBT centers sometimes have, and they sometimes accept people like me. Sometimes they don't, because, yeah. And I got the feeling that they really didn't want to accept me, because they didn't, because I wasn't willing to do what I had to do to be accepted, really. Because I was kind of like scared. I always figured people are gonna be really, really mean and angry at me and So yeah, though I never did really. And then yeah, so when I'm like 20, I found a job through one of the youth people, and that was a phone job. And I was like, oh, dang, this is a good one. Because, I mean, I already had, like, phone experience. And, like, when I say I prank call people, I kept people on the phone for, like, 2, 3 hours prank calling them. Because for me, it was like living the life I wanted to live on the phone because there was nowhere else I could live it, basically. So that's a major thing for me. I that's about it as far as my work experience. I've had every now and then worked at like little fast food joints. Sometimes, like I worked at fast food joint that was McDonald's and Carl's Jr. and um, that's about it. I'm thinking Kohl's. Yeah, I worked at Kohl's. Yeah, and right now I'm kind of like considering working into like a specific like um real estate or something like that. I've always wanted to get into real estate and I'm working towards that. I just have to make more money doing other things like with phones and stuff. I also was actually considering going back to my first old job, the first job that I got with the phones. I'm not good at selling things either. That's the thing. I'm not good at selling things, but I'm good with talking on the phone. I can keep someone on the phone for a long time. I've kept people on the phone at my job for an hour. Easily. I can keep someone on the phone for an hour. Easily. Just fine. 30 minutes is easy too. Now, I can get lazy too. Like at one job, we had it where you could basically cut the survey in half and have it 15 minutes if it's a 30-minute survey or something. You know what I would do? I would tell the person, you can leave when it's 15 minutes. And then they would come by and finish the rest of it. But, I mean, that was when I was starting out. Later on, I mean, like, if I put my all into that thing, I get the person on for an hour. An hour. And I don't know, like, to me, at the end of the day, it's all about just, getting the job done. But yeah, um, I got a hair on my lip, and I'm trying to get it off. Dang, I got it off. There's a lot of lipstick off. Anyway, um, so yeah, I've never worked in that kind of aspect. Period. Now, I mean, like, I wouldn't mind generally, but a lot of people always want like some kind of porn action. Especially out here in Vegas. People are always asking to suck someone's dick. Like, I would rather just, like, if I don't mind, like, being nude online. Like, show my tits or ass or pussy. That'd be fine. Like, I've no. I think that might be another reason why some people don't really like my, types of pictures because I am bold and I'm not really shy. When I was younger, like I said, there's a major reason why I don't. That's why right now you can see I didn't pump testosterone in my veins. Because for me, I like my body, but I don't identify with my body, so to speak. So, like, I can tell what my body is beautiful, okay? And everything about me is beautiful, in my opinion. Humbly will say that, but for me, I see what I like and I like it, you know? But that does not make it where I need. It isn't like I need to, like, I don't need to, like, identify with my body, really. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like I want to be that person, like it's like seeing like someone and saying that they are pretty, but they are just pretty. Like, you don't want to be them. This is exactly how it is with most other women. This is exactly probably why I never get jealous of anybody. Because how can you get jealous of somebody if you don't want to be them? You know what I mean? That's the essence of being jealous, you know? And that's a major thing. I've never been jealous of a woman. The reason I've never been jealous of a woman is because she's a female. Now, of men, I've been jealous since I was 13, maybe 12. Excuse me. Um, I've been jealous of men for a long time, okay? And so for me, I mean, like, I like what I have, and it's kind of like just having kind of like a picture of something pretty, but you don't really own it. It's like someone else painted it. But, you know, and honestly, I mean, like, I don't have that much dysphoria anymore. I think because I kind of coped with it, honestly. But I know a lot of people who are transgender don't like me because I choose to be a certain way, even though I feel differently than most women, you know. But yeah, I mean, like, people have different choices. And I remember when I was at my groups, back when I was in my early 20s, everybody was like, well, everybody was like they wanted to transition or whatever. And one of the times I would talk to this one person, and he would tell me he was a trans guy, so he's born male, born female, sorry, and lives as a guy, a gay guy actually, married to somebody. But anyway, um, so for me, like, I was once having a conversation about how, you know, some people don't choose to transition. And I think we were talking about, I'm trying to think of her name, Caitlyn. Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner. And he was saying how some people just transition like when they're older, or some people never transition, you know? And that was kind of like directed at me. And I kind of was like, yeah, I could see it. I could see it where I'd end up where I never transition, even though I know what I know about me and everything, you know. But, like, yeah, for me, I mean, like, I don't have the same ideas of how, you know, how men, like, I guess to me, when you talk about porn and all those things, I see it kind of in the same way a guy would see it, kind of like if they had some kind of physical insecurity, sure, but if they don't, then they might, you know. But the whole social expectation of women not to want to do porn is not my reason. My reason is more so to do with my sexual preference and my, you know, I don't know how to say this in a G-rated way. I don't like big penises. So, I mean, for me, and I don't like girls either. So, for me, that wouldn't be something that I would do. Neither of those things would be anything I would do. And honestly, like I said, less, like, I've had sex, but I haven't had sex long, okay? A little over a year. Like 4 days over a year. So, I mean, I've been a virgin most of my life. And for me, I mean, like, that's just how it's been. So I've never had anything where I had, like, an ability, I guess, to do it. Because, I mean, like, you can't be a virgin and a prostitute or a porn star. As far as, like, suck my pics, one, Vampire Freaks site, it's like, That's porn. Like when I was on the site, I didn't see any porn. I saw girls that looked like scene and guys that looked like scene. Some didn't. Some were just handsome. Like there's one guy I was actually flirting with was actually just handsome. He didn't really look like he was goth or anything, just really handsome. A little older, 23. I was 18 at the time, but yeah. I didn't even talk dirty though. Back then, I really didn't know much about sex, so I mean, I couldn't do that. You watched how I talked and stuff in my proof videos? I seem more like I'm 12, honestly. Looking at those videos, to me, I'm like, wow, I've come a bit of a way. And sometimes I think, oh, maybe I'll look back at these and I'll be like, oh, damn, I came a little bit of a way. Because I think a major reason why I was that way back then was lack of social experience, I wasn't socialized at all. And I gradually got socialized. I mean, I was so shy. I hadn't gone to high school, you know. I didn't go to college really. I went to college for a short while at that point. 2 months. But I always seemed like people always hated me because I was black, I felt. Reno's a really racist city. And it's not the white people being racist either. But Vegas is very racist too. That was the same year that I was at 7-Eleven and my mother had an issue. She wanted to return her candy bar or whatever, and she was called the N word for wanting to get a return. So, I mean, there's a lot of racism in Nevada, really, honestly. I don't really talk about it because day to day, honestly, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the lady lost her job, so I mean, who lost out of that situation? Someone who wanted to take a candy bar back, who actually did get their candy bar taken back the next day and a deal, or the person who lost their job may possibly be homeless. I think it's the person who was lost their job. So to me, like I don't talk about racism really that much in Nevada. I just don't, even though that it does exist a lot. So yeah, when I was about that age, I was just really shy, and like I didn't like want to be on social media or anything. Like I'd be on social media, but I wouldn't really show like I would show myself and have my account, but then I would just have my fakeness, really, because it was like anytime that I was real, it was like everyone would always be angry at me or whatever. So I was always like, I'd just rather, stay away, and just, shy away, really. So I would always be like on channels for like, um, I would be like more so, like I said, my persona online was usually male. My age, but generally me, just male, you know. And that's kind of just how I was back then, just really shy and insular. I didn't become more talkative until maybe like I got my first job and that helped me talk more on the phone, right? And I was still really shy then, but I was more talkative then. And then, but not too talkative. But sometimes I would get so talkative I could talk to people next to me at work, which was rare, you know. And then after that, it was because I'm very social on the phone, excuse me, but not very social in person. I'm very social on the phone because, like I said, of my experiences when I was 12 and 13, where I was like, I could easily, pretend I was a guy on the phone, and be acceptable. So I was more able to just be myself and just relax, really, and not really have any kind of expectation of me, you know. And things just worked out better that way for me. If you think of that, I never really thought of it too in depth. Honestly, I don't want to think about it that in depth. But it's I've learned how to socialize just as myself, so then I guess it really doesn't matter. but 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 um yeah, when I started to socialize better was probably when I was at that first job, and then the next job was really helpful. I actually thought in my mind, I don't know if anyone else thought this, but I thought in my mind I gathered work friends. I'm not sure. I Well, we didn't hang out outside of work, really. But I mean, there's some kind of like amicability, you know. And one of the neighbors